The wind howled like a dying animal over the empty highway. The year was 1994. The night sky was thick, heavy with black clouds, covering the full moon that struggled to shine. Somewhere deep in the countryside of Oregon, the road stretched out like a forgotten snake between endless forests. A lone car, a rusted green Ford Crown Victoria, pushed through the darkness. Inside, a young woman drove, her hands tight on the wheel. Her name was Elise Carter, 23 years old, skin pale like snow, freckles dusted across her sharp nose. Her black hair was pulled into a messy bun. She wore an old red hoodie, faded jeans, and boots stained with mud. Her green eyes flicked nervously to the rear view mirror every few seconds. She was running from something, or maybe someone. The radio was broken. Only static hissed from the speakers. She had been driving for hours, ever since sunset, deeper into a part of the state she didn't know, following an old map she found. The road signs were gone. The trees looked wrong, too tall, too twisted. Every so often, Elise thought she saw figures moving between the trunks, but when she looked harder, there was nothing. Then the headlights caught something, a wooden sign, almost hidden by overgrown vines. Welcome to Brier Hollow. Population 213. But the sign was broken, and the 213 was scratched over. Below it, in faded paint, do not stay after dark. Elise's mouth went dry. Her fingers dug into the steering wheel. A small town appeared ahead, almost swallowed by fog. The houses looked ancient, sagging under the weight of time, their windows black like watching eyes. A single street lamp flickered weakly near what looked like a motel. She pulled into the gravel lot of the Hollow Rest Inn. The neon sign buzzed and flickered, sometimes spelling Hell Rest Inn. Heart hammering, she killed the engine. The world fell into heavy silence. She stepped out. The air smelled of damp earth and something metallic. Blood? No, just her imagination. The motel office door creaked open before she could touch it. Inside, an old man stood behind the counter. He wore a stained white shirt and suspenders, his bald head gleaming under the flickering light. His skin was waxy, almost translucent. His eyes, gray and glassy, never blinked. "You lost, missy," he rasped, voice like dry leaves. Elise swallowed hard. "I need a room, just for the night." The old man stared at her, too long, then nodded slowly. He handed her a rusted key, tag number 7. "Don't go out after midnight," he whispered. Before she could ask why, he turned away. The clock behind the desk read 11:43 p.m. Elise found room 7 easily. The door opened with a painful screech. The room was musty, the wallpaper peeling, the carpet stained dark in places. But she didn't care. She locked the door, pushed a chair under the handle, and collapsed onto the bed without bothering to change. She woke up to a sound, a soft tapping at the window. Tap, tap, tap. Her heart froze. Slowly, she turned her head toward the window. A figure stood outside, hidden by the fog. She could only see the outline, a tall, thin shape, face pressed against the glass. It tapped again, gentle, almost polite. Tap, tap. Elise didn't move. She squeezed her eyes shut. When she opened them again, the figure was gone, but the tapping continued. Now, from the bathroom door, a cold wave of terror crashed over her. She hadn't even looked inside the bathroom when she arrived. The tapping grew louder, more frantic. Tap, tap, tap. Elise grabbed her backpack and bolted for the door. But when she yanked it open, the hallway was filled with people. Only they weren't right. Their clothes were torn muddy from another time. Their faces were pale, their eyes sunken deep into their skulls. Some of them were missing parts, fingers, lips, even entire jaws. They all turned their heads toward her in perfect, unnatural unison. Elise slammed the door shut, heart pounding so hard it hurt. The dead were outside. Something else was in the bathroom, and she was trapped. The clock blinked 12 a.m. Suddenly, the room grew colder. Her breath misted in the air. The tapping from the bathroom stopped. Silence. Then, from the darkness, a voice whispered, "Elise, come see." She knew that voice. It was her grandfather's. But he had been dead for 3 months. Tears filled her eyes. "No," she whispered. She backed away from the bathroom, but the door creaked open slowly. Inside, nothing but blackness. A hand, impossibly long and thin, reached out from the dark, fingers like needles scraping across the floor. Elise screamed. She threw her backpack at the hand and dove for the window, smashing it with a chair. The glass shattered outward. Without thinking, she climbed through, cutting herself on the shards. She hit the ground hard, rolled, and sprinted into the fog. She didn't look back. She couldn't. The town was different now. The buildings looked older, almost medieval. The streets twisted in ways that made no sense. She ran past silent crowds of the dead, their heads swiveling slowly to watch her pass. Somewhere, a church bell tolled, deep booming. 1, 2, 3. She didn't know where she was going. Only away. Then a small light ahead. A house. Newer than the others. Warm, golden light spilling from the windows. Elise stumbled toward it, sobbing, bleeding. She reached the porch and pounded on the door. It opened before she touched it. A woman stood there, mid-30s. Kind eyes, brown skin, curly hair pulled back in a scarf. She wore a simple green sweater and jeans. "Come in," she said urgently, pulling Elise inside. The house was warm, smelled of cinnamon and wood smoke. Normal. Safe. The woman locked the door behind her and drew heavy curtains over the windows. "My name's Mara," she said. "You shouldn't have come here." Elise could barely breathe.